Hi, Stuart here. Another in my series of videos about the handiness that Postgres is. This time we're going to use Postgres as a cache. So, problem statement. I need a cache. Redis and Valkey are nice, but my caching needs are modest. I just need a simple cache. And I have Postgres. Let's use the tool I have. You can see all the code, download it, use it for your own purposes at my GitHub. It's MIT licensed. Give me a shout out if you like it. Here's my prototypical Postgres container running in Docker. You can read all about it on the GitHub, or you can watch one of my previous videos where I talked all about building the container. This is Postgres 16. It's nice and stable. It has stable, well-nourished plugins. So here we are in the Postgres-as-Cache directory, and I am going to execute the make cache function. And I'm just going to take all the defaults. The script allows you to supply your own connection string, your own schema name. One schema equals one cache, just like the previous example when we were making queues. A schema holds one queue, a schema holds one cache object. So if you want to get rid of a queue or get rid of a cache, just delete the whole schema and it all goes away along with all its artifacts. I like that organization very much. Separating things by schema also allows you to have separate test areas. It makes just every aspect of managing things. I think schemas are generally underused in databases. Almost every database has something that looks, smells, or feels like a schema, and mostly they're called schema. So let's make a cache, and there we go. So here we are in PG admin, and I will set something into the cache, and then I will fetch it back. And those are really the two methods that you want. Now, there are some other handy dandy overheads. There is a procedure that completely wipes out the contents of the cache. You may need to flush the cache if your cache gets corrupt in some way. There is a cron job that causes vacuum on this schema, which is nice for keeping the cache performant. You can tune all that stuff. All of the documentation is available in the GitHub. So here we have the solution open in VS Code, and you can see in the data SQL directory, we have all of the objects that are consumed by make cache. As always, the numbering allows me to create the objects in a particular order. The script takes the schema and role name that you provide. The role name is optional and unused currently, and replaces the token schema and creates all of the objects to create the cache. It sets up a cron to do the vacuum. It also has, which I think is a good practice, a post-deployment test that allows you to exercise the cache. So here we have a producer generates a random string for the key and the value and generates a whole bunch of them, and then loops through and make sure that we can fetch them back. Very simple in this case, since my cache doesn't do much. Again, I didn't do key expiration or whatever. That's a nice feature of enterprise caches, but in many cases, we just want to put things in the cache and fetch them back. Expiration is something I may expand this cache to do in the future. Additionally, I've created samples in 3 different programming languages. I've created one in .NET, one in NodeJs, and one in Python. I'll show you the .NET one. So we have in .NET, we have created a cache class that represents the Postgres-as-Cache class. This is the main class that you would use that wraps the functions and procedures I've shown you before. You new this up, passing in your connection string, default schema name, and so on that you've made. And this is your wrapper class. And then we have a very simple test that simulates the unit of work. So again, it spins up a whole bunch of cache keys, and then it makes sure that it can fetch them all back. And I've done the same thing in Node.js and Python. So this is, again, a nice practice. I did it in Node.js and Python and .NET because those are 3 programming languages I routinely use. But you could easily spin up your own clients in Kotlin or whatever you please. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for your kind attention.